Today we'll be talking about who knows what. Let's start talking about person again. This is from 1 U.S. Code, subsection 8. Person, human being, child, and individual as including born alive infant. Right down here under A, the words person, human being, child, and individual shall include every infant member of the species Homo sapiens at any stage of development. So if you're a member of the species Homo sapien, then if you're a person or a human being or a child or an individual, then the code looks at you as being an infant member. And what has to happen to infant people is that they need to be taken care of. Okay, you wouldn't just leave a baby out in the world alone to take care of itself. So how do they take care of you? They give you a social security number, social insurance number. And this is how people are taken care of when they fall on hard times or certain circumstances. And right here on the IRS page, if you are a sole proprietorship, then you can use your social security number as your taxpayer identification number. And this is because you were already a company before you decided to do whatever you're going to do that you need to pay taxes on. The government already had you registered as a company, and that's why they gave you your social insurance number. This comes off the Arkansas Victims webpage, and it says down here, it says the prosecutor has the sole authority to bring charges, and they can be brought contrary to the victim's wishes. So what gives the state, the controlling party, the right to bring charges contrary to the victim's wishes if they do not have some type of legal interest in your physical body? Now, if you're just finding out you're an artificial person, don't feel too bad. Fictitious persons, juridical persons, juristic persons, legal persons, and moral persons are all artificial persons. But let's look at Webster's 1828. What is a person? And it comes from a Latin word signifying primarily a mask used by actors on the state. A juridical person is someone recognized as having legal authority. And besides low-level police officer enforcement, I would say most of the legal society or most of the juridical persons understand this idea of the artificial person. Now, what I believe they are taught in school is that we need this artificial person for things such as what I alluded to before, social insurance. And we also need this artificial person to keep law and order and control. And we need this artificial person because we interact and we are so integrated on a commercial scale in our society that everybody needs this artificial person to interact with the outside world on commercial levels. And I'm not so sure that they look at it as this artificial person is the way that the courts get jurisdiction over your physical being, your physical body. I don't know if they just look that far into it. I would almost promise that no lawyer or attorney would go and look up Webster's 1828 to see that the etymology of a person is a mask. And unless you're really working with this type of law, I don't see why you would go and look up Title 1, subsection 8 of the U.S. Code. Also, think about why people put things in codes. People normally put things in codes when they do not want other people to be able to read or decipher what they're putting down. So why are all of our laws made in a code form? Or at least the statutory laws. It makes sense if they're trying to hide or to conceal something from the people who are reading the codes. That's just my opinion. Now let's talk about education. You don't have to be a genius to see that education is declining here in America. Let's also talk about how much law there is and why most attorneys are never going to put together a lot of the things that I've been expressing in my videos. And that's because the law library is just really, really big. I would have never come across this information had somebody not pointed me in the right direction. But you got bankruptcy law, you got immigration law, business and corporate law, military law, civil rights law and attorneys, personal injury law, criminal defense law, employment lawyer, private practice attorney, property and real estate law, public interest law, toxic tort law, environmental law, estate law and estate planning, family and divorce law, government law, and lawyers. And all of these are very, very big subjects, and most of the time an attorney is only practicing one and is only concerning himself with one part, one section of this big, gigantic lex statutory system that we call law. And with a lot of these laws that I just mentioned, or lex, that's written down on the books, they need the artificial person to operate these lex, laws, statutes, and codes. Most people have this type of college experience, but some people have this type of college experience. And some people stay in touch with their college fraternity brothers for 36, 38 some odd years. The best evidence I have to show that judges are not all informed on the ideas and the types of law that I talk about is back in 1999, the National Center for State Courts wrote the Anti-Government Movement Guidebook, and it's mainly a discussion on how to get around the legal arguments of people who call themselves sovereign citizens or the free man movement, which is exactly why I do not really prescribe to either one of these movements. But now, if you look here at the justice.gov, the Department of Justice, this is on their website, it says, the common law is the will of mankind, issuing from the life of the people. Now that I've talked about the people who might not know or who might not be aware of the type of law that I've been discussing in my videos, let me tell you about the people who definitely know. This is Constitution of the United States of America, Analysis and Interpretations. It is a Senate document. This is published by the U.S. Senate Committee, and it's written by the Committee on Armed Services Senate. Now, will you please tell me why the Committee on Armed Services is writing a book on constitutional law? I would like for somebody to answer that question for me. If you look at here at the contents for Amendment 14, it has 408 pages out of a 2,608 page book. Okay, so that is roughly 16% of the entire book. So 16% of the entire book written on the U.S. Constitution from front and back, all of the articles, all of the amendments, all of everything, the preamble, the analysis, 408 pages, 16% is spent on one amendment out of 27 amendments. Think about that. This book is given to every single senator, and I would not be surprised if it was given to every congressman. So, all of your elected officials do know the difference between a people and a person, and they do understand that the 14th Amendment is what creates a person to be a citizen and is what gives the United States jurisdiction over the physical body. Next time, I will be doing a more fun video on what type of future we could have if the public wanted it. Thank you. Bye-bye. Stick with me.